Have you ever wondered if you were the love of someone's life? Stay tuned for a reading to help you figure it out. Hi everybody, I'm Sue Ellen Clayton. Welcome to my channel where we're learning how to read tarot one card at a time. In today's reading, we'll take a look at 3 cards to help a woman figure out how her boyfriend feels about her. I will be using the Radiant Rider-Waite Tarot, and there is a link below. This question was posted anonymously online by a woman. Her question was, quote, "Am I the love of his life?" Unquote. For simplicity's sake, I will refer to the boyfriend as Evan. The querent didn't mention using a spread, but I will be using a 3-card spread to answer this question. Card number 1 looked at what drew Evan to the querent. She pulled the 6 of Cups. Card number 2 looks at what held Evan back from the querent. She drew Justice. And card number 3 looked at their potential for lifelong love. The querent drew the Knight of Cups. Let's begin with my first impressions. The 2 outside cards are very strong indicators of ongoing love. First of all, we have 2 Cups cards. Since Cups represent love, this is a good omen. The 6 of Cups in the first position indicates a nostalgic, romantic connection and possibly that they were childhood sweethearts. And the Knight of Cups in the third position actually represents the most romantic of the knights and is often referred to as Prince Charming. So both of these cards are very positive for true love. The Justice card in the middle is about making a balanced and fair decision. Let's look at each card individually. Card number 1 looked at what drew Evan to the querent. She pulled the 6 of Cups. Evan feels some kind of nostalgic connection to the querent. She represents happy memories from his past. Perhaps they knew each other in their younger years. Maybe the querent lived beside his grandparents, or they met in kindergarten or at summer camp, and they reconnected later in life, and it was like they were never apart. I have experienced this kind of nostalgic draw with childhood friends and also cousins who I haven't seen for decades. There is something immensely special when you reconnect and realize that that childhood bond still exists. Plus, it's fun sharing memories, such as when Uncle Phil fell in the lake and Aunt Beatrice got mad because he ruined his new shoes. It's also possible that the querent just reminds Evan of a simpler, happier time in his life. When they get together, they're not talking about student loans and mortgages and global warming. They enjoy each other's company, and it feels like they're living in a fairy tale. One thing to note is the 6 of Cups doesn't always indicate a romantic bond. For instance, my dad was an avid fisherman. Every summer when I was growing up, we'd spend 4 weeks with 2 other families in a campground in Canada. One family were my first cousins, and the other were family friends. Weather permitting, the 3 fathers would leave their 10 children and wives in the campground right after breakfast and spend the entire day fishing. I remember attending my uncle's funeral and my father talking about how happy and peaceful those times were, likely because they had 0 responsibility for their work or their kids. That could be the kind of deeply emotional, nostalgic bond that Evan feels toward the querent. Card number 2 looked at what held Evan back from the querent. She drew Justice. The Justice card is about balance and fairness in a relationship. So I believe that Evan feels like there is something unbalanced about their relationship. As we can see in the previous card, he's very romantic and would love his life to be like a fairy tale. Justice is also about taking responsibility for your actions. I feel like Evan is not taking accountability for the fact that he is spending too much time in a fairy tale world, whether that's playing video games, reading fantasy novels, or attending fan conventions. Evan sees the querent as being the law enforcer in the relationship, who's interested in more mundane issues like making sure they have clean laundry and their rent is paid on time. Justice is about balance, which, as I mentioned concerning Evan, includes a lot of fun. Evan may feel like the querent's life is out of balance because she spends too much time focusing on work or chores, and Evan doesn't feel like she makes enough time for him or for fun. Another imbalance might be that the querent is significantly older than Evan. I say this because if you look at the 6 of Cups, you see that the woman is much older than the boy. Here's the story. According to Marcus Katz and Tally Goodwin, in their book Secrets of the Waite-Smith Tarot, the couple is based on a play called Nance Oldfield that starred an actress named Ellen Terry, who eventually purchased the property shown in the background and was one of the deck's illustrators, Pamela Coleman Smith's dearest friends. This play is based on a real-life actress named Anne Oldfield and is the story of a young poet who falls for a much older actress. The girl on the card is believed to be Ellen Tracy in her role as Anne Oldfield. Anne Oldfield was famously buried wearing white gloves, and this would explain the mitten on the girl's left hand, as well as the fact that the woman looks much older than the boy. In addition to age and seriousness, there might be other inequalities that make Evan hesitate about a long-term relationship with the querent. For instance, Evan is earning considerably more money than the querent, or the querent is a get-up-at-the-crack-of-dawn person and Evan likes to sleep in, or Evan enjoys spending evenings partying with his friends while the querent stays home and does all the cooking and cleaning, and she's angry that she has to do all the work. A final meeting of justice could be that one of them has some kind of legal trouble. Perhaps it's some kind of a court case hanging over their head. Maybe one of them is in the middle of a lawsuit about a DUI or currently waiting for their divorce. Overall, there's some kind of imbalance, irresponsibility, or legal trouble that is holding Evan back from fully committing to the querent. The final card in the reading is the Knight of Cups. Before we discuss it, if you're getting benefit from this video, I hope that you'll take a moment to subscribe. It's free for you, and you'll get notified when I post videos, so you won't miss anything. It will also help me to grow this channel. Card number 3, the Knight of Cups, looked at their potential for lifelong love. Here we have some good news and bad news. The good news is that the Knight of Cups represents someone who is warm, sensitive, creative, idealistic, romantic, and motivated by emotions. He's usually extremely charming and seductive and could be considered a ladies' man. He tends to be very spiritual and makes decisions based on his heart, intuition, and gut feeling. He definitely earns his name as Prince Charming. The bad news is there are a few red flags that the querent needs to be aware of. Knights represent the teenagers of the deck. Although Evan is extremely romantic, he can also be quite immature. He might be very idealistic about what's involved in marriage and not realize that life won't be a fairy tale. We talked about some potential issues in justice, such as distributing work fairly. Evan might be a great partner for romance, but less so if the querent wants a partner to mow the lawn or clean the toilet or spend a quiet Saturday night at home watching Netflix. Knights are like fraternity brothers in that they have a lot of enthusiasm, but don't stop to think things through. They can fall in love on a whim. They can also fall out of love just as quickly, which does not make for a stable partnership when they take off with someone else. Teenagers can also be oversensitive and prone to mood swings, which can be difficult to manage and doesn't make a good spouse. Picture the querent asking Evan to help do their taxes. He responds by having a tantrum because he wants to spend his weekend playing video games. This is a big problem if the querent is seeking a mature partner and a stable, long-term relationship. I think this is especially a problem as the querent is older or at least more mature than Evan. This reading helped figure out if the querent was the love of Evan's life. I think she is. Card number 1, the Six of Cups, looked at what drew Evan to the querent. They have a deep emotional, nostalgic connection, although it's uncertain whether they knew each other in the past or just feel like they're in a fairy tale when they're together. Card number 2, Justice, looked at what held Evan back from the querent. This had to do with some kind of an imbalance in their relationship. I think Evan is younger, more immature, and more emotional than the querent. He views the querent as someone who is too serious and not a lot of fun. We answered the querent's question that she is the love of Evan's life. The last card, the Knight of Cups, looked at their potential for lifelong love. There are positives and negatives, and this is something that the querent has to decide and could be the subject of another reading. While the Knight of Cups is sensitive, idealistic, and romantic, he can also be immature, subject to mood swings, and easily fall for someone else. I think this is especially a problem given that the querent is older, or at least more mature, than Evan. Personally, I think she should look for someone else. I hope that this video will help you to conduct a reading for yourself or someone else. Please leave a comment if you'd like to share your thoughts. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.